Hello! So we have already wandered around a whole bunch in a few of my earlier videos from this season and looked at a lot of stuff. But what I want to do right now, since we're already getting a whole bunch of work done, is make a sort of official beginning of season tour so that I have something to compare my end of season things to. Um, yeah, we're going to do that. So, as we've already looked at, here is the large area next to the house, currently covered in leaves. Hopefully everything under here that we planted last year seeds in and starts to give us some pollinator plants. We are intending to get rid of all of these stones this year, and as time goes on, make this all into one large garden bed with some sort of stepping stone path, maybe a bench and things like that. This is going to, these stones will be taken out and become the front of the border here. This elderberry is going to get moved and replaced with a different variety of elderberry with another matching variety of elderberry nearby. Our daffodils are just starting to come up in a few spots here and somewhere around there and down there and all that. Along here in our first garden bed that we put in, the hostas are still unsurprisingly dormant. No signs of the crocus coming through or anything like that. The only green we have is this fern that sort of overwintered as it is. We have our dirt patch next to the tree. There are some violet seeds in here, but my assumption is the dog has completely trampled them to the point where they're not going to sprout. There's our creeping Charlie, and as of right now, planning on putting our Rosa Canina that's supposed to get rather tall here, and some honeyberries and ground cover in there. Dig out the gravel here and replace it with soil. This giant section of dirt is going to become a new garden bed, and I'm not entirely sure how big that's going to be and what shape it's going to be and everything that's going to be in it, but it will be large, it will be amorphous, and it will have a lot of things. Garlic, roses, some honeyberries, possibly our gooseberries, so we'll see. Both of these brush piles are going to be taken out. We may still maintain a brush pile, but they just won't be right here. Let's go around the side. So, don't have tons of plans for this bed for the year. My long-term intention, possibly for next year, is to plant a pair of quince trees or crabapple trees, something like that, and maybe espalier them or just trim them so they don't go into the house, and we'll see how that works. Only thing here is our staghorn sumac, which we quite like. It seems to have survived well, so that's good. Can't wait until it grows up and starts giving us some leaves for the year. All along here, in between each post, will be grapes. I'm thinking of taking some of the wood from the tree and creating a temporary garden border until we can replace it with our cobblestones to give us that nice defined edge and kind of clean things up a little. Here we have one of our other beds that we've started for the year. So as we've talked about, this came out and looped back around, and I put down some cardboard because this will be the under layer of our mulch. Help it start smothering some of the grass now. Joined the bed here up to what used to be our little bean, and it will continue out and be the front border of the little grape section of our yard. We are going to remove the raspberries this year. I am not sure at what point that will be happening or exactly where they're going to go. We might get rid of them for the year. and plant raspberries in the future once we're more certain of where they should go. I'm going to put rows here, and we'll see what else happens. We got our nice sedum and some other stuff going on. Cone flowers, we're going to keep those there. We love them. Might plant some other stuff in this area. Our Austrian copper rose looks nice. These are the Siberian iris that I roundabout inherited from my mom's godmother. Here we have the, let's see if I'm actually even focused on it. Ugh. The tree peony that grew outside of my window when I was a kid. Some Monarda that's already sent out a few little runners, which is good. This spirea is getting moved, if not entirely being taken out of the yard. We're at least gonna change its location. My beloved Frau Dagmar, still just a couple of twigs and thorns. There's a little pasque flower hiding here. Here's some phlox. Oh, what else? The Cardinal de Richelieu rose is somewhere around here. Have some asters there. My Burgundian rose here. I think there's a chance we're gonna, because this is a small rose, it gets only about 3 feet, it may become the rose that goes over here. And I may put a larger rose here to prevent that sort of jagged edge, but we'll see. We have some dianthus and blanket flower and some potentially perennial mums, so we'll see what happens there. You know, as we keep looking at, here are all of the mulch leaf piles for our apple trees that are going back here. This is our extensive bed of iris and sedum that will hopefully fill in nicely. As the apple trees get larger, this bed is going to become too shaded, likely, for these plants to grow. So in the long term, we are likely going to be moving the iris and sedum out of here, but it should be, you know, a few years before we have to be concerned about that, and it'll be good to have these here for now until we can figure out what can take that space. There's the red twig dogwood. Here is the high bush cranberry that we are very much hoping survived the winter. We have sedum and lady's mantle in this area, which will become more evident once things actually start to come to life. And we have several hostas in this area. Brother Stefan, Cathedral Windows, Empress Wu, Blue Angel, and something else that I'm not remembering. Very much looking forward to seeing those come back. We have one type of Joe Pye weed here, Anise hyssop there. If I recall, this is a native Monarda, which will be quite nice to have. The different varieties do some different things, different colors and all that. And I like making tea out of them, so that'll be good. I think there's a geranium or cranesbill somewhere over here, and a couple of asters or mums. Let's see, I think that is it for the backyard. So let's take a quick look at the front, and that will be that. Okay, so here is our large new bed from the mulch that we got at the end of the fall last year, sort of a last minute addition. There's going to be possibly chokeberries. I think currants will become the border of the property there. And if we do, well, the chokeberries will be up front, and I believe they'll be over here. In pear tree should be going right about here. It does seem that we are getting enough sun for the day to give them what they need, but honestly, this guy might just prove too much for it, so we will see. We are also intending to take this and make a sort of big sweeping bed. There's going to be a ginkgo there and who knows what else. That's a sort of long-term project. But as with every other part of the yard, the intent is to remove as much of this lawn as possible and replace the remaining lawn with pollinator-friendly things to kind of break up that monoculture and encourage more of our beneficial insects. Here we have our sort of haphazard end of driveway garden bed. There's iris, I think baptisia, Russian sage. There's our huge catmint bush that we hope just continues to expand all the time. There are iris around the mailbox. Not sure what the plan is over here. The spirea might come up front, but there might still be too much shade for it. Around the trees, we have some plants. I don't know how many of them actually survived, so that'll be a big part of figuring out what we're doing going into the future. This little baby oak tree that you can just barely see needs to be genuinely planted instead of just in a pot in the ground. Now I have 3 very large hostas that I ordered. And my current plan is to place some sort of stone, which may happen to happen in the future, and have the hostas in a sort of isosceles triangle to create a real nice hosta bed over here. But as a general rule, in the front yard, we're going to be trying to make a traditional Japanese garden. It's going to take a few years and a lot more learning about how they were designed to make that a reality. So I'm really excited about that process. We're not going to touch any of it this year, really. At least I don't think we will. But all of these plants are likely going to be taken out. These are all just generic landscape plants. The issue is that they are in gravel, and we are going to be getting rid of the gravel, which is going to be, something of a process. And ideally, when that happens, we will plant some better curated plants for our Japanese garden. But who knows? Maybe pruning these and shaping them will prove to be a good partner for that plan. As we've talked about, the bush here is going to come out. This crabapple may eventually come down, but that doesn't appear to be a plan for this year. Not entirely sure what our plan is for over here. Kind of depends on what returns this year from what we planted last year. I'm going to have to learn a lot about not only the soil here, but what plants can handle growing under this tree in these really shady, dry circumstances. So there's more learning to do all the time. Something needs to get planted as a nice ground cover grass barrier between the 2 fences here, because I hate mowing down there. I have to get in with the trimmer, and I'm always worried I'm going to start shredding up the wood at the base of our fence. So last year I covered with cardboard and leaves. Who knows, that may end up being what stays this year. Time will tell. And I believe that is enough of a before picture for us. So with that, I will let you get back to your day, and yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.